The war didn't end in defeat. It ended in silence. No enemy, no battlefield, only a vanished realm and the terrifying knowledge that time itself had turned against them. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. The Alliance army stretched endlessly across the mountain range, banners fluttering violently beneath the howling icy winds. Countless figures stood shoulder to shoulder, their auras intertwining like a vast surging tide. Yet despite their overwhelming numbers, an oppressive heaviness hung in the air, as though the mountains themselves were pressing down upon their hearts. At the forefront of the army, Gu Yuan and the others stood before a shattered ruin that surrounded a colossal ancient gate. The stone structures were broken and twisted, bearing the scars of violent spatial destruction. What remained was nothing more than wreckage, silent, desolate, and cold. From within the chaotic remains, faint ripples of spatial fluctuation could still be vaguely sensed, like dying echoes of a passage that had once connected two worlds. But those ripples were weak, scattered, and unstable, clear signs that the path had been forcibly severed. The passage to the Hun realm has already been destroyed. Gu Yuan's voice was low and heavy, carrying a weight that made the surrounding air grow colder. His face was dark as storm clouds as his gaze swept slowly across the assembled experts. Moreover, he continued, his tone sinking further. Based on my probing, the Hun realm itself has been completely concealed. Its coordinates have vanished, its traces erased. They were fully prepared for this. A subtle stir rippled through the crowd. Xiaoyan slowly exhaled, his brows knitting tightly as a grave expression settled upon his face. He had anticipated resistance, but he had never expected the situation to deteriorate to such an extent. The Hun clan had not merely retreated. They had vanished. They had hidden their entire realm so thoroughly that even Gu Yuan, one of the strongest existences on the continent, was unable to locate it within a short time. Although the Hun clan could not remain hidden forever, Xiaoyan understood the cruel truth far too clearly. They did not need forever. They only needed time. Time for Hun Tiandi to complete the refinement of the Dai-tier embryonic pill. Once that moment arrived, the balance of power would collapse completely. The Alliance army, no matter how vast, would be plunged into an irreversible disadvantage, crushed beneath a strength no mortal force could oppose. We've already dispatched people to investigate the other passages leading to the Hun realm, Yanjin said quietly, his voice tinged with restrained unease. Gu Yuan shook his head slightly, a gesture filled with resignation. If the Hun clan truly made preparations, they would never leave behind such a fatal loophole, he said. They would not give us even the slightest chance. Though the Alliance army stood in an overwhelming offensive posture, the truth was merciless. They had no road forward, no enemy to strike, no battlefield to enter. This expedition can only be considered a failure, Gu Yuan concluded softly. The word fell like a hammer. Silence spread. After a long moment, Lei Ying finally spoke. His fists were clenched tightly at his sides, veins bulging, his voice hoarse as though scraped raw by suppressed fury. Then, what should we do now? For now. Gu Yuan let out a faint sigh, one that carried exhaustion deeper than physical fatigue. All we can do is wait. And see, he added slowly, whose luck is better? Lei Ying's eyes widened. Wait for what? He demanded sharply. Wait. When every breath Hun Tiandi took brought him closer to godhood. Wait while the fate of the entire Daoqi continent teetered on the brink. The howling wind swept across the ruins, carrying with it a chill that seeped deep into everyone's bones. The war had not ended, but for the first time the Alliance had lost the initiative, and that realization was more terrifying than any battlefield defeat. Refining a Dai-tier embryonic pill is not without risk. There is always a chance of failure, Gu Yuan replied slowly. All we can do now is pray that Hun Tiandi fails. As long as he does not step into the Dodi realm, we still have a chance. But if he succeeds, Gu Yuan paused, his voice sinking. Then it seems the heavens truly wish for our annihilation. Silence fell over the crowd. Everyone's heart sank heavily. Without realizing it, they had already been driven to such a desperate edge. Disperse for now. Leave spies behind. Gu Yuan waved his hand. He turned and walked away slowly. During this time, I'll do everything I can to locate where the Hun realm is hiding. If fortune favors us, and we find it early, we'll decide then whether to storm their realm and fight a decisive battle. No one spoke after hearing his words. They all understood there were no better options left. Xiaoyan lifted his head toward the sky and exhaled softly. His gaze followed Gu Yuan's weary, retreating figure. The 8 ancient clans had struggled endlessly over the ancient god mansion. Yet in the end, it was the Han clan who reaped the greatest benefit. Let's go. Xiaoyan grasped Xun Er's and Kailin's slightly icy hands, shook his head and led the group away. The vast alliance army gradually withdrew from the mountain range. Though the news was not openly spread, the oppressive solemnity seeped outward, weighing heavily upon every cultivator's heart. Eventually, the army returned to the headquarters of the Sky Mansion Alliance. Though they had suffered defeat, the alliance did not disband. Everyone understood one thing clearly only by standing together against Hun Tiandi, who now possessed the Dai-tier embryonic pill. Did they have a chance to survive? Once they scattered, death would be inevitable. Thus, the alliance forces remained stationed around the Sky Mansion Alliance, constantly monitoring the movements within the Central Plains. After the army dispersed, time passed day by day amid anxious anticipation. Yet Gu Yuan, who continued searching for the hidden Han realm, produced no results. With each passing day, the unease in many hearts deepened. Under such circumstances, every extra day Hun Tiandi spent refining the pill meant an additional layer of danger for the alliance. Though their hearts burned with urgency, everyone understood that anxiety alone could not alter reality. Xiaoyan stood within the star realm, gazing up at the enormous square floating high in the distant sky. It had been brought out of the ancient god realm by Zhu Kun. Upon it stood a stone statue 100,000 feet tall, featureless. Yet its mountain-like presence alone was enough to inspire awe. "It's been a month," Xiaoyan murmured to himself, staring at the vast structure. A full month had passed since Hun Tiandi seized the D-tier embryonic pill. During this month, the Han clan seemed to have vanished entirely from the world. No information surfaced. Some outsiders, unaware of the truth, even believed the Han clan had been wiped out by the alliance and came bearing congratulations. Xiaoyan and the others had no heart to deal with them, merely dispatching people to send them away. "Kyoyugege," a gentle voice sounded from behind. Xiaoyan turned and saw the picture-perfect young lady approaching with light steps. He smiled faintly. "Any news from Uncle Gu?" Xiaoyan asked. Seeing Shuna shake her head, he sighed softly in disappointment. Waves of frustration surged within his heart as he closed his eyes. This helpless waiting was truly tormenting. Zhana stepped closer, leaning gently against him. She raised her delicate face, her warm fingers softly massaging his temples, trying to ease his fatigue. Xiaoyan relaxed, inhaling her faint fragrance. He wrapped his arms around her slender waist and buried his face in her black hair, murmuring hoarsely, "After all these years of struggle, am I still going to fail?" "Xiaoyan Geiji is already incredible," Shuna replied softly with a smile. "No matter how the future ends in the hearts of countless people, you will always be a success." "I've failed," Xiaoyan said with a bitter smile. "Didn't Xiaoyan Gege once say that only by letting go can one truly hold on? Following one's heart is the essence of freedom," Shuna whispered. "This is different." Xiaoyan took a deep breath, lifting his gaze to the bright moon above. "If I let go now, the Sky Mansion Alliance, the Gu Lei and Yan clans. Sometimes one can pick things up, but cannot let them go." Juna bit her red lips, looking at the renewed determination on his face. Still embraced in his arms, she smiled a smile of incomparable beauty. "Xiaoyanggege, we will succeed." Time continued to flow. Another half-month passed in mounting anxiety. The Han clan remained eerily silent, as though they had completely disappeared without a trace. Inside a vast hall, the upper echelons of the alliance gathered. Worry clouded every brow, each passing day gnawed further at their nerves. Xiaoyan sighed softly, gazing at the gloomy atmosphere. Doing nothing but waiting for the Han clan's emergence was suffocating. Damn it! Why haven't those bastards shown themselves yet? If they want to fight, then fight. My Lei clan will battle them to the bitter end. This waiting is unbearable. Lei Ying suddenly slammed the table, reducing it to dust, as he stood up, teeth clenched. "Fight! Where?" Yanjin frowned coldly. Lei Ying clenched his fists before slumping back down with a weary sigh. The Han clan was hidden. Where could he even go to fight? Everyone. Xiaoyan was about to speak and rally morale when the space inside the hall suddenly trembled. Gu Yuan's figure appeared. Everyone sprang to their feet. "Any news?" Gu Yuan's expression was unusually solemn. He nodded slowly. Before joy could rise, he said, I've found the Hun realm's location, but it's already too late. It was as if a basin of icy water had been poured over them. All excitement vanished. What does Uncle Gu mean? Xiaoyan asked hesitantly. Gu Yuan sighed, his gaze shooting toward the sky above the central plains. Instantly, the entire region trembled violently. Xiaoyan and the others rushed outside, staring at the distant heavens. A massive black ring of light had appeared, expanding at a terrifying speed until it enveloped the entire central plains. Boom, boom, boom. The natural energy of the world boiled violently. Countless experts turned pale as they looked skyward. Under the gaze of the entire central plains, the black light twisted and condensed, eventually forming an enormous cauldron that filled the heavens. Its size was indescribable, as though it encompassed the entire world. This is... Xiaoyan and the others' expressions changed drastically. Within the endless radiance, they sensed a familiar presence, Hun Tiandi. Hung Tiandi has already begun merging with the Dai-tier embryonic pill, Gu Yuan said in a deep, heavy voice. He intends to use the central plains as the cauldron living beings, as ingredients heaven and earth as the flame and his own body as the pill. He is refining the Dai-tier embryonic pill into a true Dai pill. Once completed, he will step into the Dudi realm. Hung Tiandi. We have all underestimated the madness of his ambition. Hiss. Everyone present sucked in a sharp breath of cold air after hearing Gu Yuan's words. Shock surged violently within their eyes. Refining a Dai-tier medicinal pill. Who in this world possessed such terrifying ability? Hun Tiandi was not even an alchemist. How could he possibly refine it? The pill already possesses an embryonic form, Xiaoyan said, slowly licking his lips. That means the most crucial step of refinement was already completed by the Tushi ancient god. If Hun Tiandi can finish the final stage pill formation, then it is not impossible for this Dai-tier embryonic pill to become a true Dai-tier medicinal pill. His voice was calm, yet every word struck like thunder. We truly underestimated Hun Tiandi's madness, Xiaoyan continued. The Dai-tier embryonic pill alone only gives him a chance to break through into the Do-di realm. But if he refines it into a genuine Dai-tier medicinal pill, the chance will be multiplied countless times. One could even say that as long as he possesses a true Dai-tier pill, the barrier that has restrained him for thousands of years will no longer exist. The previously doubtful crowd fell completely silent. Xiaoyan was the greatest alchemist on the present Do-chi continent. If he said this, then there was no room for doubt. The Dai-tier embryonic pill was never Hun Tiandi's true goal. What he desired was a real Dai-tier medicinal pill. In that case, Lei Ying said in a deep voice, "Isn't this our opportunity? Since Hun Tiandi must complete the final refinement, he'll inevitably expose himself. We can strike then and stop him." Gu Yuan shook his head slowly. "I don't know what secret technique Hun Tiandi used," he said gravely, "but he has already completely merged with the Dai-tier pill. With his current strength, even Zhu Kun and I would find it extremely difficult to stop him." He paused briefly before continuing in a heavy voice. If refining the Dai-tier pill were not his top priority right now, the Hun clan would have already launched a full invasion. Everyone's expressions changed drastically. The situation had worsened beyond imagination. Not long ago, the two sides were evenly matched. With Zhu Kun's appearance, the alliance had even gained the upper hand. Yet in such a short span of time, that advantage had vanished without a trace. Then what do we do? Lei Ying clenched his teeth. Are we supposed to just watch him refine a Dai-tier medicinal pill? If we fight now, there's still hope. Once the refinement is complete, no one in this world will be able to stop Hun Tiandi. The crowd nodded heavily. If they hesitated any longer, the outcome would be absolute annihilation. Gu Yuan clasped his hands behind his back, staring at the indescribably enormous light cauldron hanging in the sky. After a long silence, he finally said, "We wait for now. Refining a Dai-tier medicinal pill cannot be completed instantly. We must calculate the optimal moment to strike." After pondering for a moment, everyone nodded in agreement. The situation was dire, but panic would only hasten destruction. At this moment, the entire central plains had descended into chaos. The source was naturally the colossal light cauldron suspended in the heavens. The terrifying ripples it emitted made countless experts feel deeply uneasy. About half a day later, black light surged across the distant sky. In front of countless gazes, beams of darkness shot forth from all directions, assembling into an enormous formation that blanketed the heavens. At the center of the formation stood a figure with long, disheveled hair. Hun Tiandi, Gu Yun's group, who had been monitoring the situation, instantly narrowed their eyes. Every gaze locked onto that figure. Gu Yun, a voice rang out from the formation, carrying an indescribable pressure that swept across the central plains. Do you regret not agreeing to cooperate with me back then? Two terrifying eyes pierced through the clouds, locking onto a certain point below. Gu Yun's expression was calm as still water. His fists clenched tightly, but he did not reply. My plans laid over countless years are finally bearing fruit, Hun Tiandi's voice echoed. In the end, I am the victor of this 1,000-year struggle. As his voice faded, countless pillars of light erupted from the massive formation, slamming down toward the land below. Rumble. The entire central plains trembled violently as the pillars struck. In a bustling city upon the plains, laughter and life once filled the streets. Bang! Without warning, enormous cracks ripped through the city as the earth quaked violently. Experts shot into the sky in shock, but before they could react, black light burst forth from the ground, engulfing the entire city. Boom, boom, boom. Human figures exploded one after another beneath the black light, bursting into blood mist and shattered flesh. Horror froze everyone in place. Panic erupted. Screams filled the air as people fled toward the city gates. Some powerful cultivators leapt into the sky, only to be swallowed by spreading detonations. In an instant, rivers of blood flooded the streets, broken bodies burying half the city. The black pillar slowly transformed into a blood-colored beam, surging upward into the colossal formation above. When the light vanished, only a suffocating stench of blood remained, a city reduced to a land of death. At the city gates, those who had just arrived watched as the doors creaked open. Joy hadn't even surfaced before a tide of blood rushed out. Shrill screams echoed. Similar scenes unfolded across countless regions of the Central Plains. Bloody fog dyed the sky red. Even the air itself reeked of death. The Central Plains fell into absolute panic. Guyuan, Xiaoyan, and the others hovered above a city near Sky Mansion Alliance. Looking down at the sea of blood below, their faces turned ashen. What happened? Yanjin whispered, inhaling cold air. Guyuan waved his sleeve violently. The cracked earth was torn apart, expelling the blood below. Beneath the city, a massive blood-colored formation was revealed, packed with dense white bones, exuding a chilling, sinister aura. Devouring spirit, eliminating life formation, someone exclaimed in shock. Yanjin and the others paled. What a ruthless technique! Lei Ying growled, his teeth grinding audibly. His gaze swept across the blood-soaked ruins below, fists clenched so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Even he, someone accustomed to battle and slaughter, felt a chill crawl up his spine. This was no ordinary killing formation. This ancient array transformed every living being within its boundary into blood, forcibly extracting their vitality and soul energy. Life itself was reduced to mere fuel. Because of its extreme cruelty and inhuman nature, it had long been erased from the annals of history, condemned as a forbidden technique that even demons feared to touch. Yet now, the Han clan had revived it. These formations were planted long ago, Gu Yuan said grimly, his voice heavy with suppressed fury. The Hall of Souls was merely collecting souls on the surface. Underground across the Central Plains, they were quietly laying the groundwork for this day. The realization struck like a hammer. All those years of bloodshed, all those countless deaths, they had all been preparation. With so many formations devouring energy at the same time, Xiaoyan said slowly, lifting his head to stare at the ominous sky, Hun Tiandi's refinement speed will increase drastically. His eyes narrowed. But activating such formations consumes an unimaginable amount of energy. The Han clan has emptied everything they have. They are gambling their entire existence on this single move. A desperate gamble. Win and rule the world. Lose and be annihilated. Return and plan, Gu Yuan ordered decisively. After such a massacre, the Han clan has made itself the enemy of all living beings. If we can unite everyone, there may still be a chance. No one argued. They turned and departed at once, their figures cutting through the air with urgency. Xiaoyan lingered for a moment, glancing at their retreating backs. His gaze shifted once more to the blood-stained land below, and he let out a soft sigh. Even if the entire continent united, if Hun Tiandi truly stepped into the Dodi realm, he alone would be enough to suppress them all. That was the terror of a true Dodi, an existence that stood above all laws, all beings, all resistance. We can only do our best, Xiaoyan murmured. When they returned to headquarters, they found Zhu Kun already standing outside the grand hall, his expression solemn. Ziyan stood quietly behind him, unusually silent. To think he actually possessed such a method. Zhu Kun sighed heavily, his voice tinged with lingering shock. Koyen nodded. We must gather as many forces as possible. If we can destroy the grand formation in the sky, Hun Tiandi's beautiful dream will shatter. Yet even as he spoke, a bitter smile crept onto his face. How many experts like them truly existed in this world? Against a Dodi, numbers meant little. This is all we can do, Xiaoyan said quietly. Once Hun Tiandi breaks through, everything will be over. Zhu Kun fell silent. For a long time he said nothing. His hand unconsciously clenched, then loosened. Finally he glanced sideways at Ziyan, his eyes flickering with a trace of determination long buried. He inhaled deeply. It isn't completely over. Everyone turned toward him. If he can create a Dodi, Zhu Kun raised his head, his gaze sharp as steel. Then so can we. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.